I'm going to share with you what happens when you take common weeds like this dandelion and place them in a bucket of water. This dandelion right here has an abundance of nutrients and can be placed in a bucket of water to pull the nutrients out of it. Dandelion has this long taproot, and with it, it gathers nutrients deep down in the ground and brings them to the surface in their leaves when they die and decompose. These leaves are actually high in calcium and rich in potassium. Potassium is very important because it keeps our plants healthy. Potassium also increases fruiting and flowering for vegetables like tomatoes. So we're just gonna grab a few and place them in our buckets. So I got my bucket filled with dandelions and some other weeds in here too. The next weed commonly seen is stinging nettle. This weed contains a lot of nitrogen and some potassium, as well as chlorophyll and iron. Nitrogen and chlorophyll that is in the stinging nettle, when added to this bucket, will brew, and the liquid from it will make garden plants grow greener. Because of that, I won't be adding a lot of nettles into this fertilizer because I'm going to be pouring this over my tomato plants. And when growing tomatoes, you want to get lots of tomatoes and not a lot of leaves. And so weeds that are high in nitrogen does the opposite of that. Comfrey is the next weed, and it has probably every single nutrient your plants needs to grow. In fact, if you were to pull out one of these comfrey plant roots, the taproot would be 6 to 10 feet long. Comfrey plant has 15 of the 18 essential nutrients that plants takes up from the soil. And it is also rich in all 3 of the NPK. Which, if you don't know what I mean, it is the 3 big and main nutrients that our plants in the garden needs to grow. That's why whenever you buy a bag of fertilizer, it'll have 3 numbers on the front of it. The first stands for nitrogen, and it causes a lot of leafy and top growth. The second number is phosphorus, and it mainly causes fruiting and flowering. The third and last number stand for potassium, and it is what's used by the plant to keep it healthy as well as encourage flowering. Comfrey leaves have a high nitrogen content, but it also is rich in phosphorus and potassium. Comfrey also has boron, calcium, iron, magnesium, sodium, sulfur, manganese, molybdenum, nickel, zinc, cobalt, and copper, which are part of the 18 essential nutrients. This weed is lamb's quarter. Lamb's quarter is rich in potassium and phosphorus. It also has iron, copper, and other trace minerals in it, and might even be more nutritious than spinach. One way you could tell that you have lamb's quarter is that the leaf makes a triangle, and some people think that it looks like a lamb's face. I stuffed quite a bit of this weed into my bucket because I want to bring up the phosphorus and potassium to encourage more fruiting in my tomatoes. I also have some pigweed in here, which is also known as callaloo. Pigweed is a relative of amaranth and is a weed that you can actually eat. I also have horsetail, common mallow, and clover, which is high in phosphorus and potassium. Now with all these buckets of weeds that we have here, there is 2 ways we could use them to make a liquid miracle fertilizer. One way is to just place them in a bucket of water and cover it with a lid or something similar and let it ferment and brew, as the nutrients from these weeds get transferred into the water that is in the bucket. Some people will also add a handful of native soil or compost into their bucket with water, which is supposed to help add in bacteria and microorganisms to help extract the nutrients out of the weeds. Then for this mixture, you want to let it sit for 1 to 2 weeks before you use it. One downside I'd say to this method, and others could probably agree with, is that as the weeds break down and turn into a miracle liquid, can turn into an offensive goo. The benefit of the next method that I'm going to share with you is that it doesn't stink. What I did for this method is I gathered buckets of weeds and then I dumped it onto our lawn. Then I came back with a lawnmower and ran over the material. The lawnmower chops it all up into finer bits and pieces and is breaking all the leaves, which exposes the inside and causes the juice to come out. Then I come back with a leaf bag attachment and collect everything up. Then I took my bucket and added the weeds into it and filled the rest with water to the top. After 10 minutes of soaking, the juices and nutrients from the chopped weeds will be extracted, and it is now in the liquid because the juices were already seeping out when the lawnmower cut them. Then To apply this fertilizer, I took a kitchen sifter and strained the mixture into a next bucket so that the weeds and the liquid is separated. Then, what you'll want to do is for every 1 part of this liquid feed, add 1 part water. You have to dilute the fertilizer because this miracle liquid is very concentrated, and to just pour it over the plants can burn the plant's roots, which will stop its growth, and we don't want that. Just start easy on the plants with a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1. You just want to see how the plants respond after watering in your liquid fertilizer. And because this fertilizer is a liquid fertilizer can more easily get to your plants and can be used by them faster, which is the miracle of taking weeds and placing them in a bucket to make a liquid fertilizer for free. If you like seeing Tweaker in these videos, make sure to peck a like emoji in the comments for Tweaker. Tweaker. If you want to know how to make this brown liquid fertilizer that could even double the growth of your plants, then watch this video over here. Goodbye!